This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
As a scientist, I can tell you that Sundays are only 24 hours long. But with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get every game every Sunday all in one place. That's upwards of 30 hours of NFL in one day. How can there be 30 hours in 24 hours, you ask? I have a theory. Magic. New users get NFL Sunday Ticket for 8 payments of $34.50 per month. Sign up at NFLSundayTicket.com. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games. Excludes digital-only games and commercial use. Terms and embargoes apply. Availability varies.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting the leadership of a team captain on the football field, but getting a sea captain. You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team. Shouldn't it be the same for your insurance? So don't settle for just any insurance when you can go with a leader. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Let them come, let them come, let them come. Let them all come down to the den. Let them come, let them come, let them come. We'll only have to beat them again. It's the best team in London.
Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Hart. You joined me in the wake of last night's excellent 1-0 win over Watford at the Den. Joining me to review and chew the cud of what was a hard-fought victory, a good victory, but hard-fought in my opinion, is Mr. Michael Avery. Michael, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. And before we get started, you got your intro wrong. The FCA nominated finalist.
We were just talking
Achtung
about this,
Millwall.
listeners. We've been nominated, we're shortlisted for best podcast in the Football League category. And that's great. I'm going to stick a link in the show notes. So, you know, if you do want to vote for us, that would be wonderful. Really boost my ego, Mike. My ego.
That cynical all for award ceremony, but please vote for me.
Yeah, I know. I'll go around in circles on it, listeners. It's nice to get nominated, and there's a certain pleasure in the idea that people enjoy what you do. I'm a bit cynical about these awards, so I will be upfront with everyone. But if you do want to vote for us, and we'll toddle along. So Ellen Road this year might get the award ceremony if we were to be placed. So Ellen Road leads, so that'll be an interesting.
I have to say, from going to it last year when we made the finals with the Dockers debate, there's some interesting characters at these things.
It's a very odd scene. I mean, there's something fundamentally eccentric about doing it in the first place. So I'm going to put my own hand up there. I mean, you've got to be a bit cracked, I think, to do this in the first place, in my opinion. There's also now an increasingly large, younger community of people who do it as a kind of a potential way of making a living, Mike. We were just talking off air, weren't we, about the whole kind of... the YouTube scene. I mean, when you go along to these FCA awards, it's both interesting and frightening in a way, because there are people that actually make a job out of juggling footballs in shopping centres and doing videos of themselves catching the ball in the back of their neck. All the things I could never do.
Do you know the bit that gets me? It's like
with hip hop.
As silly as it sounds. Like, I consider myself semi-normal. Do you know what I mean?
Emphasis on the semi, Mike. Emphasis on the semi, yeah.
Yeah, or as young people like to say, maybe old. Yeah. But I was sat there and, like, you can hear people go, "Oh, that's like JK49217 on TikTok,"
Yeah, I know,
and I'm like,
I know.
I haven't got a fucking clue who half these people are, and you are absolutely fanboying like there's no tomorrow.
We trudged. We went to one. I think I'll mention it again in this show later after Mike and I finished. But I took my wife to one when we got shortlisted, and I got sold. In the end, they cut the discount of the ticket so much that I said, I'll buy some. We got like a 2-person deal. The food was paltry, listeners. I mean, it really was stop off at McDonald's on the way home because you hadn't had enough to eat. But no, it was that. I mean, I'd never heard of Thogden. There's a bloke out there called Thogden who does content. He's a young kid and he follows, I think it's Bolton. And he was like adulation there. And I thought, I've never heard of this kid. And it's a fascinating parallel universe.
Yeah. And do you know one thing I will say as well, and sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off there, and I'm not saying it for another reason to get votes in for you, but we had it, I mean, behind the scenes, Acton, obviously, Nick's in his house and I'm in an office, and we obviously splice it together and we go from there.
Revealing
And
all the
with
secrets of the trade.
all the secrets. And with the Dockers debate, they even said last year when we were nominated, with modest production values of me talking into my phone.
Into your phone at a game.
And sending it the voice notes. But as silly as it sounds, when you actually see who you're up against and their production value, it probably like you always hear, don't you, like all the celebs, oh, it's just nice to be nominated. We were sat there last year with Erith Town and we were like, we haven't got a fucking chance.
Well, no, you're pitched
at
up
all.
versus the likes of Arsenal Fan TV, which has now become quite a media presence in its own right.
Yeah.
So hats off to, I think the guy's name's Robbie. He was there with his gang, and Robbie's in king position there because he's the one that's making the most of the money, I think. Anyway, he has this little posse that whooping it up in the hall, and there are others. I can't even remember the names of these people now, but I found myself thinking, how on earth did I get here? Because all I do is talk about my beloved Millwall into my iPhone, and hope. It's very nice that people like it. I mean, that's all I'll say. It's lovely,
100%.
lovely feeling that people like it. And if you do want to vote for us, there will be a link. But I do retain a lot of. I don't know. It's like an outsider sense that you're sitting in a group of people. They've been put into some kind of parallel world almost, and you know the truth and they don't. Anyway, Michael, we've strayed far from Millwall 1, Watford 0 last night. I couldn't get along there last night, listeners. I watched it on Sky TV. Really, really strong performance overall. A good defending performance, especially in the second half, I thought. First half was when probably the brightest of the Millwall, football was played, I suppose, including the goal, which was a fantastic free kick strike from Camille Negley on 9 minutes. I've watched it a few times, Mike. It's the technique required to do that is incredible. Really, really, really top strike by Camille.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think when you sort of half take for granted, like the ability of some of these free kicks and how they're able to get the ball up and down quick and the curve on it and all that, because like I still coach football teams occasionally, so I find myself on a football pitch. I struggle sometimes to even get it into the corner I'm aiming for, let alone get it up and down over a wall in front of X amount of thousands of people with an actual professional
live
goalkeeper.
Television coverage,
live television, the pressure of not winning at home yet, not scoring at home yet, and all that comes with it. It was a top finish, and you know what you said about the defensive display. We said off recording that I run Aaron's radio show this morning, or I texted it in as a laugh and sort of said, apart from the goal, not a lot happened. But I don't think it was not a lot happened because it was like a dull game or anything like that. I just think it was a solid defensive display, like you say. I can never pronounce his name right. Kramer. Ever since we signed him, I can never pronounce his name properly. Absolute stonewall at the back for me, like absolute stalwart, should I say. He was superb. I thought Cooper played well, Brian played well. Bender had one of his better games considering the criticisms he's had. That save right towards the end was a great save.
Just a few world-class saves.
Yeah, just a few. Apart from his world-class saves, what's he ever done for us? It's like the Romans, isn't it, in the life of Brian? But he's pulled off a couple of decent saves there.
Well,
he was
a match-saving save towards the end. Let me just run over the lineup before we go. I normally should do this at the start, listeners. I won't win any podcast prizes if I don't even give you the lineup from the very start of the shows. They'll be go off on nice tangents. But anyway, there we are. So Bender was in goal, as Michael said. Back line, Leonard, Kramer, Cooper and Brian. I thought played very well last night. The whole back line, actually. But Brian, I thought, was a good player last night. Don't know what the formation was. I'm no good with formations, listeners. I'm going to go with a 5-man midfield. Mazu Saku was very impressive. Luongo got man of the match on TV. Camille Negley scored a goal. Idemai Marku always gives you 100%. You can talk about, some aspects, but you will never fault him on commitment. And Turno Ballo, who I thought looked very good. And up front, poor old Josh Coburn, who puts in 100+ % effort, Michael. but can't score a
I
goal
thought he
for
struggled.
Toffee.
I thought he struggled last night.
Can't score a goal for Toffee. He had that wonderful chance where we were 1-0 up from the Negley goal, listeners. And then there was some loose play by Watford, and Leonard fed Coburn really nicely from the right side, and that should have been scored. 21 minutes, Michael. That was a howler of a chance. I do feel for the boy at the moment. It's just, nothing's happening for him, is it?
Yeah, and you know what? This is like we were saying. This, I mean, I know he's been with us before, obviously last season, and he scored, but he's starting to fall into that sort of Gary Alexander
Yeah.
when we first signed him, isn't it? Of like we just need one to hit him on the arse and go in, really.
Yeah.
Because he needs a goal. Obviously Ivanovic was injured, or supposedly we don't know what happened there. He was
Injured at Palace and I've heard it from a number of different sources. That, as listeners will know, Achtung has like a Stasi level of spy coverage at the Mill training ground and scene, and apparently got injured on his shoulder at Crystal Palace. Mike.
yeah. But you know they're not scoring. They need a goal. I thought Marco, you say with effort there, but there was a couple of times, especially there was one instant I can't remember. I think it was in the first half where he's got the ball on the edge of the box. He's got the defender on the back foot. He could go either way and either get a crossing or get a shot away. But he kind of just like runs into him and lets him run away with the ball. And Marco, yeah, good effort last night. But I thought, like you say there, I thought the midfield dominated. I thought Brian had a good game, like we listed there. But also it was late on in the game. But the absolute stonewall penalty from Langstaff. I mean, if you look at the build, it's an interesting one because if you look, and Sky cut the replay very well, because if you actually look into the build up to where Langstaff runs into the box, for an example, I think there was even a foul in the build up as the ball got up to him. So even if the referee wasn't sure about the penalty, he could probably have pulled that back and used that as a little bit of a kind of, well, I'm not sure, but I'll give that one.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of a scuffle there. Obviously, there's arms all over him. He can't be a million miles away from the line who's got a better view, and nothing's been given. It was an
Nothing's
absolute
given. I
stonewall
mean,
penalty.
obviously it's easy with a slow motion replay and a camera angle. In real time, as that move broke, I thought, I see the cliche. You've seen him given, you've seen him not given. This referee wasn't really giving much, in fairness, much to anyone last night. He seemed to let the play go quite a bit. But when you see the replay, Mike, the defender has hold of Macaulay on both shoulders, and that's as he's trying to break forward into the, to get a shot away. So. As Alex Neil said it himself in his post-match interview, a stonewall penalty. I think in real time, I'm not sure stonewall is the best word, but it did look a strong shout. That's for sure. Yeah. And the replay, if VAR had existed, which thankfully it doesn't, I think we might have got the penalty there. But there we are. That's the way football goes. I mean, my take on the second half, I thought we played well in the first half, leading 1-0. We've missed a good chance to make it 2. Their shots are mostly restricted to long range efforts, which went sailing over the bar both times. A lot of possession for Watford, but no real bite, and so it continued in the second half. I found it quite tense watching it. They seemed to have a lot of the ball, Mike, and weren't creating much in front of goal, but there was always this sense of impending doom in a way. It's not quite there, but you have this sense that they're going to get something in a minute, and so it went on for the half. But their best chances didn't come to the last 10 minutes when they created clear chances. But I thought it was a pretty good defensive showing, really, when I look back at the notes I made, because it's long periods of them with the ball, but not anything happening in front of our goal.
Yeah, and it seemed like you were just saying there a minute ago about the midfield as well. The ball was very much stuck in the midfield. Like we say, there was no real penetration. Every time they got anywhere near our back four, we dealt with it. And you've got, like, I'm just looking at the stats now. 11 shots in the whole game for Watford. Only 4 of them were on target. So you're only having 1 in 3 shots on target, let alone going in.
Yeah.
And if you break that down, that's 1 shot every 9 minutes they're having. That's superb defending. Now, with Millwall, you can argue the other way around. We've had 9 shots and it says they're 2 on target, but we scored 1 of them. We don't need to chase the game.
No. This was, in fact, Gary Rowett was a half-time guest. I thought he must be oozing over this because we're 1-0 up, which is his preferred position, isn't it? And defending. We're defending very well, but we're not chasing the game. I think that's the point.
And like you say as well, like I mean, just looking again, like in-depth match stats from the BBC, total touches inside the opposition box. Millwall had 22, Watford had 13.
Yeah, no, they
So
showed
it's
no bite in front of goal. That's the
yeah, and that's what
tribute to our defence, in my opinion, because they just kept them
yeah.
out. There was nothing.
But I think this kind of goes back to where we are at the moment with Millwall. Like I mean, I'm thinking back to the Wrexham game. Yeah, okay, we were poor,
Mm.
and I remember talking to you at the end. But in hindsight, now looking back, were we poor defensively? No, we've just been poor in front of goal. You know, like the way we're playing at the moment, and with performances like last night and results that we've had over the last few, we've only conceded 7 goals in 6 games. Now,
Yeah.
that I know you can say that's only one a game, but I mean, Bristol City in third have done the same. Coventry in sixth have done the same. QPR above us have conceded 5 more than us. But this is always the story of Millwall Football Club. Sorry, young listeners or even old listeners who this is very deja vu. We've never really had that 20-goal a season striker,
Not
really. I
for a
mean,
long
I
while.
know you struggle to get it, but
No.
I mean, we've never been blessed with it. Always takes our strikers a long time to get into double figures, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, you can name the top strikers off the top of your head in the last 30 years, and that's Messrs. Lee Gregory and Steve Morrison, and before that, Anthony Cascarino and Edward Sheringham. You know, these are the names that leap into your head. I mean, I know Neil Harris, of course, back in the and Moody, so include those two as well. But no, we don't. We do struggle to score goals. We struggled last night. I mean, that was the chance I mentioned with Coburn in front of goal.
Considering
Tough.
considering we've got 3 wins out of 6 and 1 draw, so if you look at that on paper, that's very positive, and we're on the same points. It's only goal difference keeping us outside the top 6. We're scoring less than a goal a game at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, this has been a problem since as you said, for some time, really. Don't know why. Goal scoring is the gold dust of football, isn't it? You know, people pay big money for top goal scorers, and you know, as it seems to be easier, and or certainly from our point of view, it seems to be easier and more accessible to find good quality defenders and midfielders from abroad. To find that, you know, the talisman striker. As far as you know, who knows where Ivanovic will finish in his career, but so far we're still struggling to lay our hands on the goose's golden egg at the moment. Certainly this season, not a goal between the pair of them, and chances being missed.
Here's the question for you, though. We're talking about defensive displays and, you know, Cooper, how he played, and Brian, how he played, etc. Leonard, I thought, did okay. He had a good game.
Yeah.
How much are we missing Tanganga, do you reckon?
I don't think we're missing Tanganga, not defensively.
I
I mean,
don't think so.
the numbers you've just mentioned, and I'm just looking at the league table myself. So, yeah, 7 goals conceded from 6 games. Well, would we have conceded less with Tanganga? I don't think so. And, you know, that was a move that suited him, suited us, financially anyway. And I don't see any playing loss at all. I think a number of the players that have moved on in the summertime, and Tanganga's obviously the star of the group, but Saville and Honeyman, I mean, they're both players I like. Everyone loved George Saville at the den, but I don't think we're losing in those areas. Those players that have moved on, what we're searching for is someone who's a reliable, big physical presence up front that will get goals. And you know, I don't want to knock Josh Coburn because he does a huge amount of work, Mike. I mean, the amount of wrestling he's involved in up front, often with two players on him. He's holding the ball up. You know, I'm not knocking him. The goal scoring record is unfortunately where he's judged as a striker, and that's not good. And in fairness, Ivanovic hasn't shown much. He was out last night with this knock. The injury list, I mean, we've mentioned it many times. I don't think I've got anything new to say about injuries at the Den, really, other than it keeps getting longer and longer. Kundal.
It's the same every season, though. We always have about 19 players out in one go, and Lurch is warming up.
Kundal dead calf, apparently, they said last night. I don't know. Who can say what bit is behind all that? But all of that said, that was a great win. We endured a lot of pressure. There was some really top saves from Stephen Bender in goal, shot from distance, which he batted away. I thought the volley was going to go in when it fell to their striker. Thankfully, apparently it was his wrong foot, and he steered it, away from the goal on 80 minutes. And then a really incredible save, Mike, on 88, which was that kind of close range, instinctive block with his foot. I mean, that's what top goalkeepers can do, whether they know much about it or not. They have the knack of being lucky.
You still can't give him the full credit, can you? Didn't know anything about it.
Well,
no, I'm joking.
It was fired at. I mean, there was a header. Was it a corner that came in? I think it was a corner. It was headed down, and then the Watford player kind of caught it, and that 9 times out of 10 that goes in the net. But Bender was in the right place at the right time, and it caught his foot. Who knows? That's what goalkeepers are paid to do, and he blocked it, and there was no goal, so it goes onto his credit sheet. And I thought that was a brilliant match-saving moment, really. So you can't knock Stephen Bender as a goalkeeper. Also, last night I wasn't overly depressed with his distribution. I mean, sometimes that's been the area that people have knocked him for, but I thought he was really strong last night, and it finished 1-0 and a chance to get the old Christmas tree lights going at the Den. A chance for status quo and the lights to start flickering around the stadium, which is very pleasant. First home win of the season, putting us in 10th position. Michael, Alex Neil mentions, we're just 2 points off of second spot. Stoke City are second in the table on 12. We're in 10th on 10. I know it's only 6 games in, but to be hanging on in there, given the injury list we've mentioned, given the fact that we've got 2 strikers that can't score for Toffee at the moment, is pretty good going. Pretty good going.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, and this is where, Millwall at the start of the season, with respect to fans, I was looking online. It's like we made certain signings. It's like HMS pissed the league, and we're going to win this, and we're going to win that. We're going to win we're going to go up and all this, and then we lose away. And then it's World War III, and then we only score in the 87th minute against Charlton, and it's World War IV, and then we lose against Wrexham, and then it's the world has ended. But I jest if anyone's taking this personally, but I think if you could say, look, there's still 40 games to go. There's 120 points left to play for, but 2 points off top after 6 games played, and now that a lot of the signings have played, got a bit of a feel for each other, got a feel for how we play, how Alex Neil, what he wants to do. I'd have took that after 6 games, because normally, even under my favourite manager Kenny Jackett and second favourite Neil Harris, we was always about third from bottom after 6 games. So to be in the mix already, okay, like we don't get too carried away. Swansea away at the weekend is a tough place to go, and there's no mugs in this league. Like we said pre-season, Birmingham coming up, they've got money. Wrexham, whether you like them or not, are you a fan of Deadpool? They've got money and they're spending it. Ipswich coming down from the Premier League. Okay, Sheffield United's a bit of a tough one, but there's no mugs in the division this year.
No,
and we're doing all right. We just need to be a little bit realistic.
The Sky TV were gushing over Watford last night. They gush over everybody apart from us, I think, saying how they were expected to be playoff contender. I didn't see much evidence of that last night. I don't follow them, so what do I know? But just looking at my Twitter feed here, Hornets Shane, Michael, Hornets Shane, says, fair play tonight. Your under-23s could have beaten us comfortably, he says. Very impressed with Jake Cooper. He was an absolute colossal performance. Interesting that other clubs see Jake as the colossal presence, as a performance, as the Hornet Shane's put it there. I think sometimes he gets a bit of a... we kind of talk him down slightly, don't we, Jake? But I think other clubs see him as a major weapon.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought he did okay last night, but it's the usual for me with Cooper. We've been saying it for years. It's who he's playing alongside, and he's playing against a decent centre-half again.
Yeah.
He was with Tanganga.
Yeah.
He's playing with a decent, organised... He's playing in between 2 very good footballers who know how to play the ball, who know how to play defensively and don't panic on the ball or make too many mistakes, in truth. So he'll do okay. I think the thing was with Watford, though, again, like we talk about like our expectations. But if you look at Norwich, like we played them to start the season and towards the end of last season, and it's like there's got to be a national inquiry as to they're not in the top six. Same as well. Watford last year, like they ended up with like Cleverly at one point, or they were sacking managers left, right, and centre. A few years ago, I remember there was a guy I used to work with, like they was in the top 10 and they sacked a manager, and then it went into free fall. Anyone who thinks that this is against the grain of what Watford normally do, get your head looked at, because Watford are always like this. They'll either have seasons where they're near the top, or they will have seasons where they're barely staying up, and it looks like at the moment it's going to be the latter. Not that I'm taking anything away from Millwall, you can only beat what's in front of you. And
Absolutely.
Watford, over the years, always gave us torrid times home and away. But let's not make out Watford the greatest team in the country, Sky. Thank you very much.
100%. Second that emotion, Michael. Just one more before I let you go. Mill TT has posted pictures of very decent stone-baked pizzas from a van that set up last night. The food at the den is rapidly improving, and he's loving the margarita pizza for £9 that he's bought out of this van, which is called Chunky's Pizza. Here it is, margarita for £9, pepperoni for a tenner, and there's a meat feast for 13. And they do look decent, actually. Picture that TT's posted on there of a fairly decent looking, but certainly something to put some food if you just come straight from work after a midweeker. So big shout out to Chunky's Pizza and big thank you to TT. If you're peckish, then that looks like a pretty good choice.
And Chunky's your man.
Chunky is your man. He operates out of a little van set up, and you got to get them while they're there, Michael, because once they're gone, mate. Great stuff.
And if Chunky wants to sponsor Achtung Millwall, the award.
Oh, if Chunky would like to, if he wants to keep us, in pizzas, then that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? But
he wants to keep us nourished.
I don't think he will somehow. Fantastic stuff, Mark. I'm going to let you go, mate. You're taking some time out for me, so I really appreciate your time. Big thank you to Michael Avery.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
If you thought goldenly breaded McDonald's chicken couldn't get more golden, think Golder, because new sweet and smoky special edition gold sauce is here. Made for your chicken favorites at participating McDonald's for a limited time.
When your investors, customers, and workers demand more from your business, make it happen with SAP. The AI-powered capabilities of SAP can help you streamline costs, connect with new suppliers, and manage payroll, even when your business is being pulled in different directions. To deliver a quality product at a fair price while paying your people what they're worth too, so your business can stay unfazed. Learn more at sap.com/uncertainty.
Achtung, Millwall.
Welcome back, dear listeners. Now, normally before a match, I'll try and do a preview show, kind of a retrospective show, listeners. They're often quite popular online. I just haven't had the chance to do anything ahead of the Watford game last night. So rather than let the notes that I've made go to waste, I thought I'd do the retrospective after the game, which is unusual, isn't it? But there we are. There are no rules in podcasting, I keep reading, so that's one of my rules broken there. So yeah, this is a retrospective show for a fixture played in 1993, of which there is actual footage on YouTube. If you search for Millwall 4, Watford 0, 1993, up will pop very grainy, very not early 1990s graphic-based video. Wonderful viewing it makes as well. So do have a look. There is footage of the Lions beating Watford by 4-1 on October the 2nd, 1993. Hat-trick, notable hat-trick for John Goodman. Fantastic striker, signed from Bromley back in the kind of late days of the First Division, I think. I think he joined us in 89, 90, I believe. I could stand to be corrected. But this is a hat-trick performance played on Saturday, October the 2nd, 1993. 4-1 win for the Lions, as I've said. And one of probably the first standout win at the new stadium. There was a victory over Barnsley previously. We actually struggled when we first moved into the new ground. The season 93-94 began with an away win at Stoke on the 14th of August, but then famously a 4-1 home loss to Southend, which was broadcast live on ITV, I think it was, and most dispiriting with the move from Coldblow Lane to, for me, still the spectacular new stadium. I mean, I remember well my emotions walking into the ground for the Sporting Lisbon friendly, the opening game at the new ground. I was living in Bermondsey at the time that it was being built, and I used to often walk past Senegal Fields to watch the skeleton of the ground being constructed. It was, very exciting, and I can't really get across to younger fans how dramatic this construction was. And the impact of walking into the new ground for the Sporting Lisbon fixture was quite something. I couldn't believe that we'd done it, to be really honest. This was Millwall from Coldblow Lane, a ground that we all love, but let's be really honest, it was very much of the old school, and it didn't really compare with the bigger stadia in the country, London, at that time. The new ground was the first new ground being built in London since, I think it was Highbury in pre-First World War. And, the illumination seemed to me to be beautiful on the night, the Sporting Lisbon game, and the ground was packed. I just couldn't believe that we constructed this pristine, beautiful object. I mean, now, 30-odd years later, it all sounds quite strange when you say stuff like that, because the ground has aged and it's nicely rusted, and it's come back to being more of a Millwall ground in truth. But initially, at least, we struggled. The move, I think there was just a bit of a cultural shift. The ground didn't feel like home. It has come to feel like home over the 30-odd years, but like moving into a new place, it doesn't initially. There's a strangeness to it. So we'd beaten Barnsley in the first league win at the new stadium in early September. That was a 2-0 win, but this was probably the first spectacular win of the new stadium. 4-1, over Watford. As I say, there is footage on YouTube, and it's well worth a look. It's very grainy, so kids, don't go expecting your HD level coverage. This really was the era of one man with his video camera perched high on the halfway line, shooting what he could. But it is worth a look. It's a leap back into time. So let's have a look at the match reports. 3 is glee for John, says the Daily Mirror. Peter Burrington is the reporter. Millwall 4, Watford 1. John Goodman smashed a sensational hat-trick on his first start of the season. The injury-plagued striker destroyed Watford and ended a Millwall 375-minute goal famine. Millwall's 375-minute goal famine. But Millwall boss Mick McCarthy revealed that Goodman only made it into the side at the last minute because of an injury to John Kerr, scorer of the first goal, incidentally, listeners, at the New Den versus Sporting Lisbon. McCarthy said, "I got a call on Friday night to say Kerr couldn't play, so John got his chance." Watford started well with a flowing move, ending with Paul Furlong's shot. A few names from the past here, cleared off the line by Mark Beard. Another Furlong drive was well held by Casey Keller, but in the 5th minute, John Goodman made his first strike. Jamie Morley's shot was beaten away by Simon Shepherd, but Goodman smashed home the rebound. The ex-Bromley man grabbed his second in the 12th minute when Watford defender Keith Dublin chested the ball down on the edge of the box and Goodman nipped in to blast home. Goodman snatched his first ever hat-trick in the 73rd minute when he was reached by Richard Huxford. Some names from the past here, older listeners. Richard Huxford. Superb through ball. Not often you read that, is it? Goodman rounded the goalkeeper to slot home. Watford gained some consolation in the 82nd minute when Lee Nogan's shot went in off the post. Man of the match for the Daily Mirror was John Goodman. Let's have a look at the team lineup for that day. Casey Keller in goal. What a goalkeeper. One case of Stella. Casey Keller in goal. We've got a backline, Mark Beard, we've mentioned already. Kenny Cunningham, replaced by Andy May in the 79th minute. Pat Van Den Houw, there's a name. Pat Van Den Houw. Tony Dolby in the back line. Across the middle, I've got Richard Huxford, Andy Roberts, Etienne Verveer, Phil Barber up front, Goodman and Morley. I've put them in, Morley replaced by Bruce Murray, another name from the past there for you, 70 minutes. I've put them in a 4-4-2. I don't know if, I think McCarthy was playing the famous diamond formation, so it probably wasn't a 4-4-2, but anyway, that's the easiest way to lay them out. So some great names there from the past for older listeners. And this was a season, of course, that we would finish after a difficult start, as I've said. It would build to a crescendo and would actually make the playoffs in infamy. The infamous game versus Derby at the end of the season, which would, be the first time at the new place, I think, that we made it into a Millwall ground. Let's put it that way. Shall I put it that way, listeners? Is that a fair way to put it? We lost the away leg at Derby 2-0 and didn't do much better in the home leg with a 3-1 loss amidst mayhem at the Den. For some reason, we've always struggled. Historically, we struggled with playoff football at the Den. So there we are. As I say, there is footage on YouTube for this stadium. Well worth a look. I've picked out a few players here for you. Watford, of course, has an Elton John connection, doesn't it, listeners? The Yellow Brick Road. When I went to the game a few months ago, I came in different routes, and I came along the Yellow Brick Road, and they've renamed one of the roads feeding the stadium into the Yellow Brick Road, with a huge Elton John Watford mural on the underpasses there, as Hayward Ogden used to call them, murals. Big kind of time. I suppose, would we probably would do the same in truth if we had a global superstar on the scale of Elton John following Millwall. It's never happened, does it? But we probably would make a big song and dance of it, like they have. I mean, also the Elton John era for Watford did lead to their high points. They were a so-so lower league club for most of their history, a bit like Crystal Palace, a bit like ourselves, really, in many respects. So the arrival of Elton John really boosted their levels through the divisions, of course, under Graham Taylor, up into the top flight. But the reason I'm banging on about Elton John is there is a Millwall link with Elton John's, of course, Reg Dwight, isn't he? That's Elton John is his stage name, and a member of the Dwight family, Roy Dwight, actually played a few games for Millwall in the early 1960s. No direct link to this game, listeners. I've just picked out the Dwight link. Family Dwight link there. So Royston Edward Dwight, Roy Dwight, was a forward for the Lions for 7 games. He scored twice for us in the early 60s, 1963 to 65. His career took in places like, he was born in Belvedere, 1933, but he took in a career including Hastings, Slade Green. There's a name from the past, Slade Green. Fulham, Nottingham, Gravesend United, Coventry City, Millwall, as a youth coach, Dartford, era from Belvedere. Then he went out to the NASL, North American Soccer League, for the Detroit Cougars. What a great name. I love the American names, always glamorous. August 1968. Then he came back to era from Belvedere, from the Detroit Cougars to era from Belvedere. That's quite a leap, isn't it? And then he finished as manager at Tooting and Mitcham. Born in Belvedere in 1933, he died in Woolwich in 2002. R.I.P. Roy Dwight, briefly a Lions player and a relation, of course, of Reg Dwight. I think it was his uncle, Elton John. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and all of that. In fact, there's I've picked out a little biog from Neil's book. The Affable Roy, he calls him Roy Dwight, had been a teammate of manager Billy Gray at Nottingham Forest, where they were both members of Forest's FA Cup winning side of 1959, in which Roy scored the decisive goal in the cup final over Luton Town, but was then carried off with a broken leg. Roy's time at the Den was elongated with a stint as youth team coach. Roy was the uncle of Reg Dwight, Elton John. He managed locally and became a PE teacher at Forest Hill Secondary School. Anyone out there go to Forest Hill? Reg Dwight, Elton John's uncle, was a teacher there. He then became assistant racing manager at Catford Greyhound Stadium. That's fantastic, isn't it? What What a career. Like I've said a few times on these shows with Neil particularly, I love the detail of the way that footballers lived prior to the modern glamour age. So there we are. That's Reg Dwight. Now, he isn't related to this game at all. So I'm just picking him out as the Elton John link. And the reason I seized on that was that Watford have put out an Elton John themed away kit this season, the blue one. So they didn't wear that last night, obviously with a clash. So I've picked out 3 Millwall players from that game that I've listed already. John Goodman, I've mentioned already, came to us from Bromley. He was a striker with us for 5 years, 127 games, 37 goals, 1990 to 1995. Born in Walthamstow, John. His career took him places like West Ham, Leighton, Wingate. There's another name from the past, non-league side. Bromley. This is the pre-modern era Bromley, of course. Back in 1990, came to us for 50,000 in August 1990, leaving us for Wimbledon in 94 before retiring through injury in January 2000. Stints at Chelmsford and Wimbledon's fitness coach. John, like Neil Harris, says Neil, also made the step up from non-league to the full-time game without too much trouble. Direct with scintillating pace. He was fast, kids. John Goodman, when I remember seeing him at the Old Den, really, really struck. We haven't seen a fast forward like this before, and he was really, really quick. John was a defender's nightmare, says Neil. He never kicked a ball for Bromley before joining Millwall. I didn't know that. I thought he'd played for them. Was on Bromley's books before joining Millwall. John won 4 Republic of Ireland caps after being sold along with Kenny Cunningham to Wimbledon back when we were skint, listeners. We had to get rid of our players for money. Kenny and John joining Wimbledon, who were in the Premier League at the time. There we are. That was the cost of the Derby game. The kids. Oh, I keep talking about kids. No kids listen to us. After an injury ended his career, became a fitness coach, running Think Fitness. He had a spell back working for Millwall. Since May 2014, he's been manager of the Nike Academy at St George's Park. John Goodman. There we are. Good player. I like John. Elvis, he was known as, wasn't he, because of his dark, sleek haircut.
The Hilton sale is on. For 10 days only, you can save up to 20% on stays this fall and beyond. Don't wait. The sale ends September 29th. Book your stay and save at Hilton.com. Terms apply. Hilton, for the stay.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Achtung, Millwall.
Jamie Morley I've picked out here. I like Jamie Morley. He does seem to divide opinion at times online. But I like Jamie Morley. He was a striker that came as a make weight in a transfer deal that hurt times here. The hurting times that took Chris Armstrong to Crystal Palace. Chris Armstrong was a very good striker. And we just talked about the pace of John Goodman, but I want to talk about the pace of Chris Armstrong, who we had to sell to Crystal Palace. So anyway, Jamie came as the make weight in a transfer deal. We don't seem to get make weights anymore, money and players. But anyway, that's what we did here. And it proved to be an instant success, Jamie, with his season-long best return of 15 goals. After the goals dried up, he was sold to Watford for $450,000, and he was later part of the Crewe Alexandra squad that won promotion from Division 1 in 1997, and he also won the League of Wales title 3 times with Barrytown, where he also won the Welsh Cup in 2000. I didn't know he played in Wales, Welsh football. Jamie is now the managing director of a sports management agency, New Era Global Sports Management. I think he's quite a figure in sports, agent, the world of agents in football. So big shout out to Jamie Morley. 1992-94 for the Lions, 76 games, 20 goals. Born in 1971 in Wandsworth. Career taking in such diverse places as Millwall, Crystal Palace, Watford, Royal Antwerp. Good name. I love Royal Antwerp's a great name. Crewe, Brighton, Colchester, Barry Town, we've mentioned, Forest Green, Newport, Chelmsford City. And finally, back from the era where we seem to acquire quite a few American players. Bruce Murray, Casey Keller, John Kerr, of course. But Bruce Murray was mentioned in the report. Just 16 games. And like I've said a few times on these shows, one of the pleasures, purposes, points, 3 Ps, of these kinds of shows, for me at least, is that it gives you a chance just to mention some of the more, if not obscure players, but certainly players that don't get mentioned very often. And Bruce falls into this category. He's pictured in Neil's book here wearing the wonderful pinstriped white and royal blue shirt that you can check out on the video of this Watford game that we've been discussing on YouTube. He played 16 times for us from the 93-94 season, scoring 3 times. Born in Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia. Washington, D.C., nation's capital, 25th of Jan, 1966. His career took in Clemson University, the Washington Stars, 1988. Lucerne in Switzerland. The Washington Stars again in 1989. The Maryland Bays. Some great names. 1991. Then the US Soccer Federation. I don't know if that still exists. Before coming to Millwall. And then it goes a bit downbeat after that. Stockport County and Ayr United before he goes to the Atlanta Ruckus. What a great name. 1995. The Lions picked up the US international Bruce after a trial to join his fellow compatriots, Casey Keller and John Kerr. What's happened to our American players recruitment team, if you're listening? Bring them back. I used to like having a few Americans in the side. Got a deep affection for America in my heart, despite the current nervous breakdown of the country. But anyway, a member of the USA squad at the 1988 Olympics, a year after winning the Herman Trophy, helping Clemson University win an NCAA Division I crown, soccer. Despite scoring on his Lions debut, it was a bit too late in his career to make much of an impact in the English game. After retirement, he had a stint in the metals trading industry. I didn't know that. He's also worked as a TV analyst, youth coach, and in 2011 was inducted into the US Soccer Hall of Fame. How about that? I didn't know that, listeners. So there's Bruce Murray. So that's it. That's the retrospective of Millwall 4, Watford 1 from 1993, early in the opening phase of the new stadium. Now then, I was going to look at a few of the comments from Spotify. Big shout out to everyone that comments. You can choose to comment on a show on Spotify, and I do love it when people send me, reviews and whatnot, or whatever they want to say after a show. This one here I've just picked up from Terry Snow after the Wednesday with Merv show last week, which would follow the Palace penalty shootout loss. So I asked, when was the last time we lost on penalties? And Terry has done his research here, so a big shout out to Terry Snow. He's just catching up on the show, mate. The last time we were in a penalty shootout was also in the EFL Cup against Oxford away, 27th of August 2019, where we lost it 4-2. I don't remember that, so thank you for that, mate. But I'd done my less diligent research, and of course, how could I forget the Brighton game, which he goes on to mention, another shootout that season we had where we lost 5-4 against Brighton in the FA Cup, and that was, of course, in March 2019, after being 2-0 up at 79 minutes. Entered what was his name? The goalkeeper, Dave Martin, was it? Also known as Butterfingers, and that was the end of that particular dream. But yes, so that was another penalty shootout, as well as Terry says here, a penalty shootout against Gillingham also in the EFL Cup earlier on that season in 2018. We lost 3. We won that one 3-1. That's unusual. We don't seem to win much in the way of penalty shootout. Maybe we don't practice them. I don't know. Do we practice them? why would we practice them? We don't really need them very often, do we? So there we are. So a big shout out to Terry. Yeah, so the last time we were in a penalty shootout was Oxford, away in August 2019, which we lost 4-2. Surprise, surprise. A few other comments here. Steve, 110% agrees with me about Romain Esse, bringing him back. That was tongue-in-cheek, Steve. I mean, I don't have any ability to influence whether Romain Esse or whether even the club would want him back now. A lot of people, when I put that cheeky little suggestion to bring Romain back from his misery at Crystal Palace, bring him back on loan or whatever it takes, back to the den, a lot of people said, would we want him? He doesn't fit in with Alex Neil's formation now. I don't know. I think you can always find a place for good players, and he is a good player. He is very, very miserable at Crystal Palace, though, clearly. And the manager, Oliver Glasner, who I think is a decent manager for them, but he is a kind of like a cold-eyed ruthlessness to him that doesn't fit very easily in with the more sentimental, whether we like it or not. We're a sentimental club, and he's applying the Teutonic kind of cold eye to the squad there, which is probably the only way they're going to get anywhere. So I don't think the Teutonic devil there will play him very often. So my message was come home, but there we are. Retrospective show, Crystal Palace 1, Millwall 4 from 1950. Mark says he loves these shows. Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Neil and Nick. I'm really excited to hear the return of the Millwall dog. Yeah, I've resurrected the Millwall dog sound effect. But that's nice. I was asking if people like these retrospective sections. I love doing them. The one I did with Neil the other day was very enjoyable. Finding the little side stories and tangents that you can go off on. Including Jeux en Frontière. I'm going to come back to Jeux en Frontière, and that is totally un-Millwall related. But we will be returning to it, dear listeners. One last one. Ian Tobin, after the Charlton draw, says the Charlton fan base are crackpots. I won't disagree. I'm fighting you, Ian. Not on that. At the start of the season, some were telling me they would finish higher than us and in the top 6. Yeah, that's hard to visualise. Forgetting that we have built on 9 seasons in the Championship. That's actually quite an achievement when you think about how long we've been in the Championship now, and this season as well. I mean, we've built a squad, who knows where we'll finish, but we have aspirations to be looking upwards, and that's quite an achievement for a club of our level. Drums do not belong in a football stadium, says Ian. I 150% agree with you. You can't do 150%, I know. But no, drums don't belong in a football stadium, that's for sure. Although, this is a secret, so keep it between us, dear listeners. Don't tell anyone outside the Millwall world. I can remember a drum making a few appearances in the mid-70s. Sunny days at Coldblow Lane, so we're talking like pre-season and very, very early season, giddy, hot summer's days, and it'd be around about 75, 76-ish. There was a drum leading the rhythmic Zulu-style chanting from the halfway line. I believe it was a Kent Cup game down at Gillingham. I think the drum went down there as well. Now, it didn't take hold, and I wouldn't compare it with the attempts to generate any atmosphere that you hear all over the country when you go away. This was more in keeping with the kind of the rhythmic glam rock stomp of mid-70s football chants. But there was briefly a drum at Millwall. And anyone that says there weren't, there was, because I was there. There we are. So, and the reggae version of Let 'Em Come, Adam Coyne loves it. So there we are. Thank you for Adam. Thank you to everyone that comments, actually. Always appreciated. You can comment on Spotify. You can comment on YouTube, and I'll do YouTube ones next time around. So big thank you to everyone for their contributions there. One last thing before I let you go, listeners. We've made the shortlist of the Football Content Awards, voting for the best Football League podcast. We're in the shortlist. I'll put a link into the show notes to vote if you want to. I'm fighting my cynicism of Football Podcast Awards because I get a bit cynical about these things, but it might be fun to get a few votes. So if you do want to vote for us in the Football Content Awards 2025, that'd be wonderful. I'll stick a link in the show notes. They're holding the event for the winners at Elland Road in Leeds. So that's the first drag for me if we do get into the frame. And the other one is that when you go there, you're surrounded by the YouTube and online world of influencers, and it's a really strange world. I really don't fit into it at all. I mean, age-wise, I'm way beyond anyone else when I go to these things. It's kind of funny. I'm going to take Harry up there if we go, and the prices of the drinks and the food is normally pony. I went to one over at the hotel over at Kensington, round that way. Took my wife, and honestly, the food there, it was a stop off at McDonald's on the way home job. You know what I mean? It was the food was micro level. The drinks were stupid prices, and there are blokes there off their nuts, youngsters off their nuts on not just on alcohol. But you get all these kind of baller video types, people that go around shopping centres, display their footballing skills and make videos out of it. Or you get the likes of Thogden. Anyone heard of Thogden? He's a big figure online. AFTV were there when we went, and they were all like conducting themselves like we're at the Hollywood Oscars. The whole thing is very strange, and it's good from the kudos point of view to win it. It's nice for the it's an ego massage at the end of the day if you get named and if you can pull it off. But honestly, the ticket pricing and the product that you get and the crowd that you're amongst is questionable. So anyway, if we do get up to Leeds, I'm taking Harry up there this time. We're going to get on the slosh. There we are. Thank you, listeners. So yeah, vote for us. After that wasn't exactly a ringing endorsement, was it, listeners? There we are. That's the show that we do here. Big thank you to everyone. Big thank you to Michael for joining me earlier on. Hope you enjoyed my arse about face attempt at doing a preview show for the Watford, which has now happened. I hope you enjoyed the content of this week's show. We will be back with Merv in a separate edition. Well, probably straight after this. So I'm going to say Arrivederci Millwall to you, dear listeners. I'll be back at the weekend after Swansea. Till then, bye for now.
Let them come, let them come, let them come. Let them all come down to the den. Let them come, let them come, let them come. We'll only have to beat them again. It's the best team in London.
Who do you want to watch?
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.